episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Sport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Sport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroosport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroosport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put down your solo cups and fried pickles because this is Sideline Warning, the show with the perfect balance of hot sports takes, amazing insights, and good Lord, amen, get off my lawn style rants. If you want to be a part of the madness, call the Blitz line at 931-44-BLITZ. That's B-L-I-T-Z, because that's how you spell Blitz. And now, here to recap this week's biggest and best stories from around the Southeast and beyond are your hosts, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell and the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams. Let's do this.
And welcome back into Sideline Warning. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast coming to you live and in living color, all the way from the top of the state of Alabama, from Harvest, Alabama. That's right. You got Dave Adams on top of the state of Alabama and on top of the sports world. And as always, I have brought my friend along all the way from the House of Mouse, from Lake Buena Vista, from Kissimmee, from Deltona, from Dr. Phillips, from Eustis, from Fairview Shores, from Four Corners, from Goldenrod, from Horizon West, from Lady Lake, from St. Cloud, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell. I didn't use your middle name this time. You proud of me?
That's the first time in 3 weeks. I love it, Dave. Thank you.
2 weeks. Well, yeah, it's been 2 weeks, and then the third week. Okay, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Okay. How are things in the House of Mouse?
They're fantastic. Summer has arrived. The temperature is warm.
Technically, it's not summer still. We're still in spring.
It's here, though.
Oh, it's
of a sudden.
Oh, well, it's still spring here.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's lovely. Enjoying your new patio setup that you've got going on.
If you are my friend on Facebook, you will probably see pretty much every other night I've been out there smoking a cigar, drinking a bourbon, just, enjoying life out in the top of Alabama.
Living the dream.
Although my wife is out of town this week, and so I am living the single father life, and I'm not built to be a single father. I can tell you that much. I have a very opinionated 4-year-old and a very bossy 1-year-old. I was trying to think of a good way to put that, but bossy is the best way.
She has strong leadership qualities.
Strong-willed, yes, you can say that. Very much so, you can say that. So, anything new in the world of Disney coming on this week?
Oh, no, nothing at all. Not this week. There's nothing new coming over the summer or anything like that.
No, I don't think we're going to see anything new in the summer, are we?
No, I don't think there will be any new galactic destinations to visit or anything along those lines.
Well, technically, it won't be the summer at Disney World, will it? No, I guess August is still the summer.
Yeah, that's summer.
Okay. And
pre-Labor Day.
Yeah, pre-Labor Day. So we're going to have the summer for both Disneyland and Disney World. Are you going out to Disneyland?
I will be going out to Disneyland, yeah.
Oh,
it's going to be exciting.
I hate you. Well,
thank you. I appreciate that, Dave. Thanks.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. The only way I will let you off the hook is if you buy me an Angels hat.
Okay. That seems like a fair trade. I mean, an Angels hat, not to have to hear about how much you hate me, that seems like a fair trade.
Well, I didn't say you won't have to hear about it.
I can buy you one of those off Amazon right now.
No, it has to come from the Angels Clubhouse store.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. That makes it a little more difficult. But it is all right there together, so it's not that difficult.
Exactly. I mean, Disneyland is pretty much just a park. It's like a glorified Six Flags. And Disney World is the real thing of Disney.
Wow. A glorified Six Flags.
Well,
he actually walked there. He actually walked there, Dave.
I know, but the way that it's built, it's a glorified Six Flags. In fact, I think Six Flags in Georgia might have a little bit over that, because Six Flags in Georgia is far away from the city of Atlanta.
You are so digging it deeper. Wow, the hole gets deeper. Wow.
I'm really trying to kind of make myself not jealous of you, and that's how I'm doing it.
You're just going to glorified Six Flags. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, for those of you who didn't follow last week's show, we are about to get into some non-sports talk here on Sideline Warning. I mean, Adam and I do a lot of other things other than sports. We're big sports fans, but we're also big pop culture fans. I mean, Adam works for Disney. I pretty much know more about Disney than Adam does. And don't laugh, Adam, because who do you call when you go on scavenger hunts in the parks?
Oh, I called you, yeah, for sure.
Okay, just making sure.
There's no doubt about that. And for anybody who's a cast member who might be listening, I did not call him during a Goofy's Mystery Tour. That's not what we're talking about. I just want to get that out there.
He definitely did not. He just called me afterwards to make sure I knew the questions. He thought he was going to stump me.
Exactly.
But he did not stump me.
I did not.
So, we're also big Disney fans, big Star Wars fans. We're going to get into Star Wars. We're going to talk about Star Wars at Disney. Maybe in a couple of episodes, we'll talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Adam and I both fell in love with Halloween Horror Nights last year. Yep. We're definitely going back this year. Adam probably will be going back more than I will, unfortunately. But
it's just a glorified Six Flags anyway, Dave, so don't feel bad.
But we do have some sports to talk about, and two big things happened this week that I want to touch on. First off, we're going to touch on something that's near and dear to my heart. Back in 2001, a certain promoter that I'm a huge fan of created a football league.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the XFL.
So the XFL is back, Adam.
Yeah, it's actually going to happen. And it's going to be the only spring football league in town. Who'd have thunk it?
Right. So that's probably two of the things I want to talk about. One, let's talk about the big news that happened this week.
Yep.
ESPN and Fox announced that they are going to be basically partners with the XFL. The XFL will have their games broadcast on ESPN, ABC, Fox Sports, and FX1. So those are pretty much the two big sports conglomerates, and they're going to be playing the XFL. Really, when the XFL was first announced, I was just banking that it was going to be played on the WWE network, and Vince really didn't have much going into this. But it sounds like Disney is now in Vince McMahon's back pocket and going to bat with Vince McMahon, and so is Sinclair Broadcasting. I mean, really, who would have thunk it?
Yeah, it's true. I think that the beauty of it is we talked about this a little bit when the announcement came out. I think this speaks volumes as to why major sports outlets basically ignored the AAF. I think this deal had been being worked on the whole time. And I think the accessibility that it's going to give, because it was always difficult to know where to find the AAF. Where do you watch the game, and what channel is it on? This is putting it out there, and it's putting it out there on things that even if you only have an antenna, you can watch them on ABC on the times it's on ABC. It increases the accessibility for a lot of different people, and I think that's smart. I also think that it does show that he was probably working on this for a while, and that it took some exposure away from the AAF while it was still active.
Yeah, so that brings up a good point here. Everybody was quick to jump on the AAF bandwagon, and us included. I'm not going to say that we were not at fault here. We thought that the AAF was a good idea. They had the backing of a lot of good former NFL guys. I mean, I'm a Titans fan. My boy, Jeff Fisher, was one of the bigwigs for the AAF. And we thought that was really going to make it happen. But it almost seemed like the AAF was rushed into – they were announced after the XFL, and they said, but we're going to start in 2019. Okay, it took them 6 months to get a league going. Well, we found out that they really had no plan going forward.
Yeah.
Are we really saying that Vince McMahon made a smart business move by waiting 2 to 3 years before going forward with this league?
Well, yeah. Especially when there was another one.
out there. I think you can watch it form. You can watch it spectacularly fail and go down completely in flames the way it did. And I think that everything that Vince McMahon does from now on to show polish and professionalism,
Right.
it gives a credibility to the XFL that the AAF could never get, especially how it went down. I think that it ended up being the smartest thing ever because of how things went. Had the AAF been successful, and now you're walking into a saturated market in 2020 where you have an established league that had a lot of fans versus this new thing that Vince McMahon's name's going to have to carry, it's a different story. The AAF completely exploding and collapsing in on itself probably did more for the XFL than anything else would have. Yeah, I think all the decisions they've made so far to partner with major cities, most of which already have professional sports already, but I think you have larger fan bases to draw from. Now you're going to be on major broadcast networks. They're taking their time, it feels like, announcing some GMs and owners. I think just this week they announced another one. And so it just slowly they're pulling it together, and it feels, to your point, not as rushed. And I think that the product they'll put on the field will show that.
Yeah, you were right. They just announced that Winston Moss was to be named the head coach and GM of the Los Angeles team. We still don't know what the names of these teams are.
No.
They're Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, New York, St. Louis, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington, D.C.
Yep.
There's only one of these cities that does not have an NFL team, and that's St. Louis. And I think it's smart to put a team back in St. Louis.
It is.
Because the fans of St. Louis are still mad about losing the Rams, and they're going to be attached to this XFL team.
Yeah. And I think as long as I think the biggest thing that the AAF had that was the right way to market itself was that we're not trying to compete with the NFL. We're not trying to put the NFL out of business. We're just trying to give you a product during a different time of year where the other one doesn't exist. And I think the XFL stays in their lane. I think it might work. I mean, a lot of people did jump on the bandwagon. You're right. But I think that's because a lot of people want to see something like this happen. Right. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't. But the flip side of it is that I had a hunch. Which week was it? Was it week 3?
Yeah.
When Orlando traveled out to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
They were playing in horrible, cold weather conditions with snow on the field, and you got Spurrier bundled up like a little homeless man on the sidelines. I mean, the weather and the logistics of a spring league are something to be taken seriously because especially when it's spread out. But I think they've chosen the right locations to go forward with that kind of thing.
Washington, D.C., New York.
Yeah, people have but those are established places where people go and watch baseball when it's cold, for Pete's sake. Who wants to watch baseball when it's cold? But, I wouldn't want to watch a baseball game when it's cold. So I mean, I guess. But I don't know. I think that him starting so early and having all of this time to learn is probably end up being a good thing.
And I guess he fell into some luck when the AAF did fold because now those players that were under a 3-year AAF contract, they can now go and play in the XFL.
Yeah, not only is their contract out, but look at what the AAF did to them.
Right.
I mean, there's not a one of them that would stand and say, no, my loyalty's with the AAF or I'm expecting it to come back. I mean, they're going to go for the work. Right. And they're going to go where the money is.
Yeah, and to your point, a couple minutes ago, your point was that we didn't even know when the AAF was on TV. We already know the XFL schedule.
Yeah.
We know that in week 1, February 8th, the 2 p.m. Eastern game will be on ABC. The 5 p.m. Eastern game will be on Fox. On Sunday, February 9th, the 2 p.m. game will be on Fox, and the 5 p.m. game will be on ESPN. I mean, it's already scheduled and set out. So
and think about how long in advance you're going to hear about it on all those major networks, too.
Oh, exactly.
I mean,
and to make it a little bit better, keep in mind that WWE's weekly programming on SmackDown will be moving to Fox, Big Fox, in October.
Wow.
So you're going to hear it in October. Oh, you like this? Just wait until February. You're going to see more XFL on Fox.
Yeah.
The question I have, and I've heard this question a lot after the fold of the AAF, is there enough of a demand for spring football? I understand that here in the state, we eat, breathe, live, die, poop, sleep, whatever football. But the rest of the state or the rest of the country,
Are we really a little tired of football when it comes to spring? Do people want a break? Because if you look at it, the original XFL failed, the USFL failed, the AAF failed, the World League failed, this league failed. Yeah. There has not been a sustainable football league in the spring.
Yeah, but to me, and maybe my memory isn't really great about this stuff, but to me, all of those previous examples had one of two things. Either they felt like the AAF, where it felt like a smaller thing,
Right.
Or the original XFL, where it was like, I mean, you played the announcement that you played a minute ago. It was like arena football almost,
But it was fun.
No, it was fun. I agree. But it was also when was that? The late 90s, early 2000s?
2001.
I mean, so that was the thing back then. Things kind of felt that way. I think if they come at it with a professional, it has the polish of the NFL, but maybe not necessarily the crowds and the draw of the NFL. I think that's what it's going to have to take. I don't think people want a gimmicky thing. Look at even arena football didn't make it because the Orlando team folded under the old Arena Football League. Now there's a smaller league that they're playing under this season where they've come back. But even arena football can't make it because it's gimmicky. People want to see talented athletes go out under a consistent set of rules and play the game of football without lights and sounds and distractions. They just want to see it. And I think if Vince McMahon can take some of the stuff the AFL did or the AAF did really good, like the way that they let you watch the ref review, I can't remember what they called that. They had a name for it. But if they capitalize on some of that good stuff and then they give something that doesn't, well, the camera pans across the field and there's 10 people in the stands, it was kind of a death spiral because you finally do find the network that it's on. You're watching the game and then there's 10 people in the stands. You're going to turn it. Because it doesn't feel like something that should have your attention. And McMahon's such a good promoter that he'll at least get the first few weeks going. And if it can hold on, it can hold on. I think though, to answer your question without answering your question, Dave, I think this will be the true final litmus test of if a spring football league will make it. If it doesn't happen this time, it may never be a question that's raised again. But if I'm McMahon, I'm making this the best shot.
Yeah. What's funny is, I laugh at you when you said Vince McMahon's a good promoter. He is. He's a great promoter. But if you talk to any wrestling fan right now, we're all frustrated with the product that WWE is putting out because Vince McMahon is not promoting it like he used to. He's promoting this like it's the 1999-2000 era when he had established stars.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do good at bringing up new stars. So he's good at promoting something that is established. What I worry about is he's going to try to promote the XFL like he's promoting the current roster of the WWE, promoting it like it's the quote-unquote attitude era when really it's the PG era. I know that means nothing to you, but to our wrestling fans, it means everything.
That's to somebody, and that's what's important, Dave.
Exactly. So I think we can table this XFL talk. We're cautiously optimistic about what the XFL is happening. I don't want to say we're going to jump in with both feet like we did the AAF. I will be excited when football comes back. I'm doubly excited just because I do have a little bit of a loyalty to Vince McMahon. Yeah. But I do know that Vince is getting old. I know he's getting senile in his wrestling promotion. Oh, trust me. He's not.
I'll take your word for it, Dave.
Yeah. It would be like if Walt Disney was still alive and still running Disney. I mean, at some point in time, you have to say, look, old man, step down.
Look, it's just a glorified Six Flags. You need to move on to somebody who can.
Wow. You're going to bring that back up, aren't you?
You just give me an Angels hat and we'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the next topic we got to talk about, the next big thing that happened in sports this week, we don't normally talk about sports that you can bet on a lot in this show. But when it's a good Southern thing, I mean, I'm sitting here drinking my Kentucky bourbon right now. And what goes good with Kentucky bourbon? The Kentucky Derby. Did you get a chance to watch much of the Kentucky Derby this year?
Much of it. It lasts like 30 seconds.
Okay. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I watched the replays of it.
Okay. Okay. So before we get into the ins and outs, we got to say what happened. I guess the favorite to win was Maximum Security. He came in as a very huge favorite. He won the race. I put "won" in quotation marks. He finished first in the race,
which means he won.
Well, maybe. He led out of the gate and crossed the finish line first.
Yes.
Followed by Country Horse.
Country
House. Wow. What am I saying?
Century Horse.
Which was a 65-1 long shot to win.
Yeah.
He was the longest shot to win since the 60s, maybe. But when Maximum Security crossed the finish line, I turned it off. My parents, who watch it with me, and we were texting back and forth, said, "Hey, it's not over. You might want to turn it back on." Which I kind of laughed and said blah 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 blah. My dad said, "Oh, Maximum Security was cheating." I said, "Oh, it's not cheating if you don't get caught." He said, "Well, he just got caught." So basically, what happened is it was a muddy day in Louisville, and Maximum Security was riding the rail, and it looked like to me the horse was trying to get away from a mud puddle and drifted over into the line of two other horses. Well, there's a rule in horse racing that you cannot impede the line of another horse, which, Adam, you and I are NASCAR fans.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that Ricky Bobby always says or said in the movies?
If you ain't first, you're last.
Rubbin's racing.
I mean, there's so many quotes, Dave.
Right. Rubbin's racing.
Right. Rubbin's racing. Yes, you're right.
Right. Rubbin's racing. So if you're not blocking, tell me this. You've got 20 horses within the span of probably 6 or 7 horse lengths.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that there's no blocking whatsoever? And then you watch the replay. Hold up.
Go ahead. No, I'm just taking a breath.
And then you watch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
The jockey did not move the reins to go in. The jockey was holding his position. He wasn't even spanking the horse or doing his little yah thing, which if you watch the replay, I said yah. If you watch the replay, jockeys are sometimes hitting other horses. Maximum Security's jockey did not do that. The horse was just trying to get away from a mud puddle. If you're asking me, and I don't want to get into this whole thing, I'm not Adam Russell. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Shut your jaw. You are a conspiracy theorist if I ever knew one.
Sometimes.
90% of the time. If you're asking me, this whole thing stinks of collusion.
Collusion.
This is the first time in 146 years that the winner of the Kentucky Derby has ever been disqualified. I did not see. Now, I don't watch every race. I don't watch the ponies every week. I'm not that guy. I watch the big three. I watch Preakness, I watch Belmont, and I watch the Derby just because it's what you do as a Southerner. And my family grew up around horses. We showed horses. My great grandfather was a champion horse shower, so I grew up around horses. This is kind of what I do during the big three. I don't know enough of the rules to say yes. I'm qualified to say if this was a block or not. First off, why is that a rule? I understand you're trying to look for the safety of the horses.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 whatever. You're letting these jockeys whip the stuffing out of a horse. So where's your safety of a horse? If the intention of the horse was not to impede the other guys, the intention of the horse was to get away from the mud. Who doesn't want to get away from that mud? If you can watch the replay and say, it doesn't look like this was intentional. Why do you make that call? Now it's your turn to speak, Adam. I'm off my soapbox now.
Wonderful, wonderful rant, Dave. That was true to our intro. That was a good one. No, I don't know, man. I think that if you've got a driver behind a race car and you're at Talladega and someone dives all the way down to the bottom to block somebody passing on the inside and they end up causing a wreck because of it and it's reckless, maybe there's a foul. Maybe there's something like that because
there might be a black flag.
You have one human who is in charge of a machine, and the machine does not do anything without the human telling it to.
Right.
I think what they lost sight of in this race is that it is a horrible day weather-wise. Mm-hmm. And they probably have some training underneath circumstances like that, but this is not the normal circumstances by which these horses are trained to run. And when you have a brain of a jockey and a brain of a horse combined, I don't understand how you can sit here without, to your point, without clear video evidence that the jockey steered the horse, which to me it happened so fast. I don't know how he could have steered it that way.
Right.
There's an animal at play here who has its own. I mean, I've gone horseback riding twice in my life, maybe just once or twice in my life. We got back to the stables, and before I could get off of the horse that was trained to allow human beings to just sit on its back and do whatever we told him, my horse decides to walk off and go drink some water with me on its back. So,
is there video evidence of this?
Oh my gosh, dude!
I had video evidence.
No, there's no video evidence. It was before video cameras were everywhere. But I had the music. This is how long ago it was. I had the music from Rescue 911 playing in my head as the horse is steering me off in a different direction. Okay, this is like true '90s, right? So horses, it has a mind of its own. It's an animal unto itself, right?
Right.
And I think that in a case like this, when the horse led, maximum security led the entire time, you had it bounce to the outside like it did. You had a few horses slow up, but the inside line came up and almost won, and it still won convincingly.
Yeah.
They deserve to win that race.
I agree.
I mean, even under a circumstance of the horse doing something possibly, in my opinion, that the jockey could not stop. The jockey got control. Nobody had a problem. And the thing is I don't believe, and you have to correct me, Dave, you're probably watching it more closely than I was, where was Country House affected by that bounce to the outside? Or Country House was running like 6th or 7th for most of that first long stretch.
Country House was not affected. Now,
then why did the jockey complain? The jockey from a horse that would have won is complaining about a foul that actually helped him get up into second.
Right.
And that's what I have a problem with, is that jockey's coming forward and making it a complaint on a long shot, hoping he would end up winning, and he did. And he got $1 million, a couple $1 million, the owners and the jockey, I think it was 1.8. And it just stinks. I don't think collusion necessarily, but I do think it's bad sportsmanship on the part of the jockey and owners of Country Horse to come forward like that when it didn't even impact them. In fact, it helped them. They got a second place finish because of what happened.
Right. The Country Horse got a first place.
No, what I'm saying is if everything else had stayed the same, they would have gotten a second place finish when they were running 6th and 7th the entire time. That horse had no business in this race. I mean, it was middle of the pack at best. And somebody's got to be the middle of the pack. I get it. But it didn't have any business being at the front. And the situation is what led to it being at the front. So it just stinks. I don't know about collusion, but it does stink for sure.
Yeah, it stinks. And I mean, this is the Kentucky Derby. It's 145th, by the way. I was wrong when I said 146th.
In the ballpark. It's okay.
Yeah. To me, the Kentucky Derby is right up there with the Masters. It's one of those purely Southern sporting events that is purely good. When it comes to the Masters, you've got pimento cheese sandwiches. When it comes to the Derby, you got mint juleps. You've got hats. For the Derby, you've got the white jumpsuits for the caddies. It is something that goes hand in hand with the South. And with that, usually you have a simpler way of doing things, a simpler way of life. It harkens back to this sitting on your back porch type thing. And to me, this is going to be kind of a get off my lawn rant too. To me, it almost seems like we're overthinking this. We're overthinking the racing. We're overthinking the golfing. We're overthinking everything. We're not being true to the roots of the truth of the sport here. let's get back to how racing was. Take instant replay out of it. I'd be okay with taking instant replay out of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I did read an article about how instant replay is kind of at the heart of this controversy. It's one thing for me when there's a clear and cut rule of, let's say, this feels to me a lot like targeting in its early stages, at least, right? It's did he launch? Did he aim with the crown of the helmet? Was there intent to hit that way? This seems a lot like that. I mean, it's one thing to do instant replay of what his foot in bounds or not. It's one thing to do instant replay of did he have possession of the ball before he hit the ground, that kind of thing. But when you start talking about did the jockey have intent to dodge or was it the horse, you can't use instant replay for stuff like that. You just can't.
Right.
You can't. And when you do, you start having every single race after this, anybody who barely slides in the way of another horse, you're going to have them come in and say, well, check the replay. Now you got another 20 minutes after the race where you're going to be checking the replay. They've introduced something that they're never going to be able to get control of, especially in bad weather conditions like that when things are a little bit more random.
Yeah, so, exactly.
It's unfortunate.
It is. And Adam, I'm going to put you on the spot. You said that you had another thing to rant on when it came to the Kentucky Derby.
Are we doing sideline warnings this week?
No. Let's
okay, then I'll rant now. I find it amazing. Who broadcasted? NBC, right?
Yeah, NBC.
Yeah, I find it amazing that we have a group of people. I won't use any names or labels. I'll just say a group of people. Think the Blackfish crowd. Think PETA. Think that kind of thing. It's not good to take animals and keep them in captivity and train them to jump through a hoop and splash water on guests and things like that. But it is okay to trot out these horses in front of a bunch of well-dressed people and beat the crap out of them the entire length of the course to get them to run faster than the other horses. And to your point, Dave, sometimes even hitting the other horses. Right. To me, I agree with you in a sense that the Kentucky Derby is woven into American culture. It's woven into Southern culture. But I feel like we are approaching an age where double standards are frowned upon very strongly. And this seems to still be one of those. And one of the reasons the Kentucky Derby is still shown the way it is and all that is because it makes a lot of money for a lot of people, you know? And I just, I don't know, for me, I enjoy watching it, everything like that. But and I think it came to me watching it this time because there was the zoomed in, you're zoomed in on the horses and it's slow motion. And you literally see them just hitting these horses as hard as they can, zoomed in slow motion. And you're like, what the heck are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
Because at the same time, the same people that sit here and broadcast that will turn around and turn their logo green and turn all the lights off, you know, during an NFL game, and green is universal and all this garbage. And it's like, well, you're broadcasting horses literally get the crap beat out of them for, 2.5 minutes on live television, nonetheless.
Yeah.
So it just hit me. And it never occurred to me until zoomed in slow motion. You saw it, you know?
Yeah. So I don't understand why there is that double standard of, horse racing is okay. Whipping the bejesus out of a horse is okay. But
greyhound
jumping
racing
Shamu, right? Greyhound racing isn't, and jumping Shamu isn't. I don't know. I mean, it's odd to me.
It's what it is, and life will always exist like that. And I don't mean to go off on one of those types of things, but it like I said, zoomed in slow motion is just like, wow, that's a side of this that you never really think about or see, because always slow motion is always at the finish line,
Right.
So it was fascinating to see that, but
yeah, same to me.
Yeah.
Something that's always fascinating to see is Roost Sport.
Yeah. How much stuff you can fit into a Roost Sport. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. All right, Adam, tell them about our sponsors, Roost Sport.
Yeah, man. The maker of the original magnetic running pouch. If you run, hike, travel, anywhere where you've got to carry keys, cards, money, gels, training stuff, the gym, those kinds of things. Roost Sport's a good solution for that. It just clips to your waistband with magnets. You don't have to carry a belt. You don't have to carry a bag. You can just have what you need and head out the door. So a lot of good uses. I know we've talked several on the show. But I think it is one of those products that the more creative you get with it, the better it ends up being overall. It's not just a unitasker at all.
Yeah, and I've said it before. The people that own Roost Sport Earl and Brenda, they're not a conglomerate. They're not owned by Nike. They're not owned by New Balance. They're not owned by New Era or any of these big name companies. They're a mom and pop corporation that makes them. I don't know where they make them, but they sell them themselves at every event they go to. Like, I know Earl is at pretty much every marathon in the country. He's always posting,
Yep.
Hey, we're here this weekend. We're here next weekend. So to me, and now I'm a brand whore. I think we've heard this before. I'm a brand whore. I love my Nike. I love everything. But when I get a chance to support a small shop that really cares about their product, I want to do that. And I know for a fact, just by talking to Earl, that Roost Sport cares about their product, and they care about the customer that buys their product.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, when we saw him at the expo, it's one thing to go to a lot of the big running store booths, right? And a lot of these big corporate booths where you walk up to the person and they have a connection to the product and that they want you to buy it, but they don't have a personal connection to the product. I mean, his sales pitch and his spiel and the way that he presents his product, you could see. And it's hard to find a product that you can buy from folks, especially in something that's become as ubiquitous as running. There's your 25-cent word for the day. It's everywhere. There's running stuff everywhere. You can buy it everywhere. It's the in thing now and has been for a long time, especially at a big expo like the Disney expos. It's just nice to know you can go by a booth and you're helping somebody directly without any middle people or corporations or executives or anything like that. It's what they do. It's what they've chosen to do. And that makes it really cool.
Well, and what I liked about Earl and Brenda too, Earl, because we didn't get a chance to meet Brenda, but is that they're a mom and pop shop. They really, each one of these Roost Sports they sell, it helps their bottom line. They really need to sell all of these things.
Yeah.
But Earl took it upon himself to go to Amanda, my wife, to go to Blair, your wife, and say, pick you out one on the house. He really cared about our listeners. He cared about us. He wanted to know about you guys listening to the show. He wanted to know about, not just because of, the ears he's getting. He kind of wanted to know about personal lives. He wanted to know about where, he cares about the people that he talks to.
Yeah.
And I know that we're not selling Earl and Brenda, we're selling Roost Sport, but I think it's important to know who's selling the product.
Oh, they're one and the same. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to get this product, to help Earl and Brenda out, go to www.theroostsport.com and use the promo code Sideline30 to get 30% off of anything on their website. And I know I've purchased a couple of things from them. And honestly, I'd purchase more if my wife would allow me to open up the checkbook. I'm on a spending ban because, too many races and too many Disney trips.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Do what? Huh?
Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, that's she knows about that trip.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
That was pre-ban.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing though that we need to talk about that probably doesn't help my ban is
Stop!
Why?
You're gonna get us banned. You're gonna get us copyright banned. Stop it! You're gonna get us copyright banned, David. No, that was the best. One thing, there was no awkward pause. Sometimes when we inline music like that, it's like is buffering music. That was like perfect.
While we were doing the reverse sport, I was getting my music ready.
That was hilarious. Yeah. So what about? Is there something going on with Star Wars there?
There's been some stuff come out. You work for a company that has some Star Wars stuff happening.
A few things.
So what do you want to talk about the movie first?
Sure.
Do you want to talk about the Galaxy's Edge
stuff?
What are we
I'm
talking
game
about?
For whatever, man. I'm game for whatever. This is usually for the last several months. This has been the spot where we talk about Avery Johnson. I'm excited about talking about Star Wars. No offense, Ben. No offense.
So yeah, Ben's probably listening. Like, wait a second. This isn't sports. By the way, did you like my
Jedi is a sport? Sorry, what?
Did you like my title for the show last week?
What was it? I didn't see it. I couldn't see
Wait
it.
a second. I thought this was a sports show.
Oh, nice. Wait a second.
So yeah. Okay, let's talk The Last of the Skywalker. The trailer hit.
The what? Talk the what?
The Rise of the Skywalker.
There we go.
The Last Jedi, Rise of the Skywalker Awakens. I don't know. So watching the trailer, what are your thoughts? Now, you were one that liked The Last Jedi.
I did like The Last Jedi.
Okay. Ryan Street, if he's listening, is rolling over in his chair right now.
Yeah, I mean, slow car chase. Yeah, whatever, Ryan. I'm calling you out. If I Am Geek has a phone line, I can call in and call you out on. Let me know, and I'll call in on it because Last Jedi was actually pretty cool. But
okay,
are you wait? Are you messaging him right now to let him know I'm talking about him?
I am.
Oh, Dave. That's just we're in the middle of recording, man. This is as bad as you texting me in the middle of Endgame.
Hey, I had to. I had to.
So what do you want to talk about, man? I mean, it looks like a fun movie.
What were your thoughts on the trailer? Like what when we heard Palpatine's laughter, what was your reaction?
What?
Oh, I honestly,
is that solid enough answer for you? No,
I did that cackle. I was like, oh, oh.
that's Palpatine. That's Palpatine. Yeah. Honestly, it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous because the last time I saw Palpatine on screen, it was the horrible, horrible rendition of the prequels where he just laughed all the time and like was flipping through the air in the Senate chamber type stuff. Just bad memories of the last time I saw Palpatine on a movie screen. So my hope is that we don't go all George Lucas on it and it makes sense this time. But I think that in the way that Endgame not only tied all the storylines together, but it was total fan service. Right. I feel like they understand what's at stake with this one. Because the real reason, I'm going to say it out loud, the real reason nobody likes The Last Jedi is because they had their little fanboy theories about Snoke and Darth Sidious and all these things and Plagueis. Oh, no. He's Darth Plagueis. And they were wrong. And they pitched their little fit and they stomped their little feet that their fanboy theories weren't right. And they pitched their fit and they still do. It's nothing but a slow car chase, The Last Jedi. The scene on whatever the heck the name of that salt planet is, Crit, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, that scene where he comes out and they fire all those lasers and then he just brushes off his shoulder. Best Star Wars moment ever.
Hold on.
Ever.
Shut your face.
Okay.
Ever?
Yeah, ever. You took the whiny farm boy who just wanted to go to Tashi Station and get some power converters. And he not only took down the Empire, now he's got the First Order freaking out, and he just brushes it off his shoulder, man. I mean, come on.
Better than Luke, I am your father. No!
Yes! Better than that, yes.
Come on, I was doing the
comment. I know you were. I know.
Better than
okay. How about
boom?
Well, yeah. I mean, better than that. Come on, no, right? But maybe not best ever. That's a topic for another time. We'll get into that argument. But that was an awesome moment in Star Wars lore, right? And for me, I think they know that all the fanboys pitched a little fit. They heard that, and just like you see how much input fanboys and the fangirls too. You ladies aren't left out of this, but you see how much input that culture has, and that like with Sonic the Hedgehog movie, they're completely redesigning the character because people freaked out after the trailer.
Right.
I mean, people are taking post-production budgets that probably don't exist and throwing it into movies to make sure they're successful. So I have no doubt that they know what all the input was after Last Jedi, and that they're going to do something about it. The Palpatine thing makes me nervous, and I make the joke about the prequels, but it makes me nervous because Star Wars has always been mystical with the Force, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you could never believe that galaxy really exists because you can't move things just by reaching out and trying to touch it, right, with your mind. But if they come back, you've thrown the theory out, and I know other people have thrown like a resurrection theory out. If it's not done well, and it's too hard to believe it's too far out there, I think they're going to lose some folks. Probably the folks like me that liked The Last Jedi more than folks who wanted to see like a resurrection of Plagueis or whatever they thought Snoke was going to be, right? So I'm cautiously optimistic about the Palpatine thing, but I am nervous about it at the same time.
Okay. So let me go ahead and tell you. I think we told my theory on the show last week. We told really what I think of Palpatine coming back.
Yeah.
Sidious coming back. He is Plagueis. He has learned to manipulate the midichlorians and everything. So
how dare you reference episode 1 on the podcast with me, Dave?
It was episode 2. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, you're right. Episode 2.
That's
how much I paid attention to those two.
Can you say that again?
No, I won't say you're right again, Dave. What I say is, I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse, and it gets everywhere. How about that?
How about I do it? Here's my hot take. Hayden Christensen was actually good.
There's going to be dead air right now, Dave, while I absolutely just Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman, you could have put a cardboard cutout of them up there and just like moved their mouth with a little thing, and it would have been exactly the same performance as you got.
Hayden Christensen in episode 3 was awesome. No,
Hayden Christensen on Mustafar in the last scene of episode 3 was good. Up until that point, nay, fluffy.
I'm not fluffy anymore, okay? I'm lost weight.
To that, I say nay. Can I share my theory? Do I get to share my theory? So advanced spoilers ahead because I'm totally going to be right about this.
First off, let me go ahead and say,
yeah, please.
You're a dork because you were texting me this while I was at work, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's right. But then I got to thinking, holy crap, he is a dork and a half.
I am. So evidently in the new book, that's Anosha, that's after the character from, well, I'm not drawing a blank. Was it Rebels?
Rebels,
yeah. They put, and what we've seen from Disney, now that they've owned it, the books tie into Rebels, tie into the movies, tie into the comics, tie into everything. There's nothing that they do that's not for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in that a kyber crystal's color is the color of the blade for a light side Jedi, but it becomes a red lightsaber for a Sith because they make the kyber crystal bend to their will, and it's basically, quote, bleeding. You can heal a kyber crystal, but you can never make it return back to the original color. It returns back to white. So all that nerdy stuff aside, I think Kylo Ren's lightsaber crackles because he is half good, half bad, and they're competing with each other. That's why he doesn't have a steady stream on his lightsaber. I still believe, and I've shared this before with you, Dave, I still believe that Han Solo killed himself to keep Kylo from turning completely dark, and I think you see Kylo. I think there's going to be some scene in the movie where something happens and Kylo finally realizes who he is, and I think that crackling's going to be going, and then all of a sudden that crackle turns into a consistent hum, and he turns around and his lightsaber's white, and then him and Rey have another battle, and maybe they kick butt. Maybe he has to kill Rey because she's bad. Who knows? But that's my theory, is that Kylo Ren ends up with a white lightsaber in this movie when he goes good. So there you go.
Okay. So now we're going to have this conversation on the air, the conversation that we had in text message form.
Yes.
Why was the lightsaber that Rey has is not Rey's lightsaber?
No, it's not.
It was Anakin's lightsaber.
Yes, it was.
The same lightsaber that killed younglings.
Yes, it was.
Why was that lightsaber not red on Mustafar?
Yes.
And why is that lightsaber not white now that Rey has it?
Oh, that is a great question. Do you want me to answer it in the context of the Star Wars universe or the context of real life?
Yes.
Okay, real life is that there are certain things that are, quote, legend and certain things that are, quote, canon. And I think that they have developed a storyline now that meets the needs of the story that they want to tell. And I think that storyline wasn't being developed when the prequels were made. Otherwise, I think you'd see exactly what you're saying. Under the new rules, under the canon rules of what's being done now. I think a lot of that stuff, though, just ends up not being that way. But it's really cool. I mean, I think it's going to lend itself to some neat reveals, even if it's not a reveal that happens in this movie, even if it's the next trilogy, which I don't want to jump too far ahead, Dave. But even if it's the next trilogy, I think that could lead to some pretty cool moments. So,
and then my next question:
yes,
why was Samuel L. Jackson's lightsaber purple?
Because he's Samuel L. Jackson,
and his wallet.
And he said, "I want a purple lightsaber." Yeah,
and you know what
General Grievous had the lightsabers of dead Jedi, right? Why weren't those red?
Why weren't they all red?
I mean, that whole line of thinking just didn't exist, obviously, when they were made. I mean, that's really the truth.
General Grievous wasn't a force wielding.
That is true. Robot. Yeah, that is true. Robot. So it's just bad, man. He was a bag of guts connect to it's so bad, dude.
Yeah, and he
always had a cold, and you couldn't even understand him when he went. It's bad.
Yeah, sorry. I know. Sorry, we went on a prequel binge. Which, by the way, my daughter wanted to watch Phantom Menace on Sunday. We made it through 6 minutes of it, and then she got bored.
Girl after my own heart. And I know, Dave, you were the one who wanted to go get it on VHS back in, Yeah, I was. But
yes, you were.
We had to, man. It was our duty.
Because we were blinded by the light.
Yes, that's right. So, next Star Wars topic. What do you want to talk next?
There's been some Galaxy's Edge stuff coming out this week.
Yeah.
So, first off, and this isn't the low hum.
What is that? Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Oh, now we're double copyright banned. Oh,
if you want to find out what that was, that's called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Symphonic Suite.
Yes.
That is the music that you will be hearing in Galaxy's Edge and Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disneyland's Magic Kingdom. Let's hear your thoughts on this music because I know you have some.
Oh, it's a beautiful piece of quintessential John Williams composing. There's no doubt about that. Right. Like we talked, Dave, I think it's great. It'll be very fascinating having a chance to hear it beforehand like this. It's going to be fascinating to hear how it's involved in the land. And you've already started jamming on it on the way to work. It'll be interesting to see people who do listen to it a lot. When they hear it in the land, that connection is going to be really strong.
Right.
I just would have liked at least like a measure of something. Imperial March, Resistance music from The Force Awakens, Leia's theme, just something that was distinctly Star Wars somewhere in there just to do it. Because otherwise, I mean, I totally get that this is a new adventure that's never been seen before. And it's a whole thing unto itself, right? You don't expect one score from a movie to match the score from the next movie, et cetera. But one thing that John Williams does really well is he creates that iconic sound of a movie.
Right.
And I feel like that this could have just had like 2 seconds of just a note or two of something that's like, yep, there it is. But
so,
it's beautiful. I'm not saying that it's not at all.
So I'm going to argue with you just a little bit here.
Go ahead.
That's because while there is not a dun part in there, or the Leia's theme, or that staccato of the dun 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 dun. Mm-hmm. There's the French horn theming that John Williams. See what John Williams does, and I'm a John Williams geek. I'm a band geek but I honestly jam out to John Williams music a lot of the time. What John Williams does is he is good with theming, and he makes his instrument grouping the theming. Yeah. The only reason we know that those songs as Star Wars is because we've had it pounded in our brains for 10, 12 movies.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to the theming in every single one of his Star Wars CDs, it's heavy French horn, heavy on the light, airy style of music. Even in that march, there's some airiness to it.
Yeah.
And so the theming is there. The musicality that he uses for Star Wars is there.
Yeah.
It's just different sounding.
No, it's true. I mean, if you think about Indiana Jones, you think about Superman, very trumpet heavy, kind of like a march kind of thing, like a hero coming down the street on a parade kind of thing, And that's one thing I do like about the music is, we shared this thought with each other when we both first listened to it, that it sounds a little Indiana Jones-esque, a little Arabian, I guess you could say, right?
Right.
Stuff. But you think about it, the way that it builds, it's almost like you think about that moment when you come around the corner, or if you were flying into Batu on a spaceship or whatever like that, right? When you fly in, that it's that first reveal. It's that moment where you actually see the scope of it. And I think the beginning really portrays that mood, and it portrays that big reveal that a lot of guests are going to have. And I think that that's wonderful. But this is a remote outpost that probably feels a little bit more like a scene from Indiana Jones than it does from like the heavy, like the cold metal of a Death Star or something like that, right? I mean, this is a marketplace, and I think that it melds all the different things it has to do together.
Yeah,
wonderfully. I'm not questioning that at all. It's like I said, it's just I kept listening for that one Star Wars piece. It wasn't there. Still a great piece of music. It's still
it is. I hate that this is going to be the last movie we hear John Williams compose. It's going to be an end of an era because John Williams is old. He's not going to be around for much longer.
I know. Yeah.
But there's probably in my lifetime, there are 3 composers that I consider to be elite. Bill Conti, who did Rocky.
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, and John Williams.
Yeah.
And to lose any of those 3. Now, Bill Conti's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He did karate. He's 80s. He did Karate Kid. He did Rocky. He did all of those trumpet heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So he's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He hadn't done much except for the Creed movies.
Mm-hmm.
But we're about to lose John Williams. And so we really might only have one amazing composer left. Now, some people probably say, well, what about Danny Elfman? Danny Elfman's good, but he's not up there with the big 3.
What about Silvestri? He gave us the Avengers theme.
Yeah.
So to your point, there are a lot of composers that gave us a moment or a movie or a series that we remember. There's not a single huge thing that you come across. The Superman theme, Jaws, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Poltergeist. But there's a lot of those movies you can instantly hum the music or think of it in your head, and it's probably John Williams if you can.
John Williams or Hans Zimmer. I mean, to me,
Hans Zimmer,
I'd go Hans Zimmer, 1A, 1B, because Hans Zimmer brought us Crimson Tide, Last of the Mohicans. I mean, those.
I can't hum the music from those in my head. Probably because they're not well, I know you can because you're a music nerd like that. Like me to books about kyber crystals, you are to music, right?
Right.
But I mean, I think it is to your point. There's not 12 Last of the Mohicans movies. It's not a saga.
Right, exactly.
It hasn't been beat into your head. But you're right. Yeah. But I am thoroughly excited about Galaxy's Edge and everything it's going to be.
Yeah.
As a fan.
Right. Now, as a fan, as a Disney fan and a Star Wars fan, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
You and I had this conversation earlier this afternoon.
Yeah.
I think that Disney is almost overthinking some things here. Because where Universal brought us lands that we know with Harry Potter, and I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, but I know Diagon Alley when I see it, and I know Hogsmeade when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But what Disney has done is they wanted to bring in a whole new story. Why are they doing this? Why don't they bring us Mustafar? Why don't they bring us Cloud City?
It's hot enough, let me tell you, to do Mustafar.
Right, exactly. You could do Mustafar in Florida. But why don't they bring us Cloud City, which is this – you could put the Millennium Falcon right in Cloud City. You could probably do the First Order right in Cloud City.
Mm.
I understand that Cloud City might be hard to do, but why are you having to create a whole new story? This is the first time Disney has done this. When you gave us Cars Land, you gave us I forget the name of the town.
Radiator Springs.
You gave us Radiator Springs. When you gave us Toy Story Land, you gave us Andy's Backyard. When you gave us Ariel's Grotto, you gave us Ariel. You basically let us walk into her grotto and see all her things that are neat. So why are you creating a whole new story for a land? You're overthinking it.
No, disagree. Can I argue with you this time?
Go for it.
So I'm glad you said Ariel. That's perfect, because in Ariel's grotto in Radiator Springs, you're going there to be part of their world. Huh, did you see that?
Oh, look what you did.
Yeah. This is completely, I mean, you shared that article with me about some new information that's coming out around the guest experiences and the way it's going to be. I mean,
Right.
This is your experience. This is your story. And I think that the good thing about a thing like, I'll never forget the first time we went to Diagon Alley, because Blair's a big Harry Potter nerd. I really like the movies a lot, but I mean, she is like in it, right?
Right.
That first time you come through the wall when the bricks open up and you walk out into it, it is like, holy cow, look at this. But at the same time, it's not huge. It's not grand. It's kind of a confined space. And if it doesn't meet the expectations that you have, you only have one shot to match what people are expecting. If
Right.
you create a new place that no one's ever been, not only can you create new stories that people can interact with, that they can make their own in certain ways, but you're not up against, wow, well, yeah, that's Cloud City, but that looks really weird, or the way that they did that is really bad, or that's Mustafar, but Darth Vader's castle wasn't over there. It actually should be over there. You know, those are the types of things that people are going to come into a land like Star Wars with, because of the knowledge of the universe that people have.
Right.
And so I think by doing somewhere different, you don't know what you're going to get when you walk into this place. You have no expectations that you can set other than based off of what you're going to read with these releases that come out and what people share and what Disney shares. And I think coming into a place like that is more exciting than coming into a place that's known. It's a little bit more mysterious. And I think it allows you for a little bit more exploration, a little more discovery, and a little more making it your own, finding your own thing you like about it, rather than, oh, look, it's Hogwarts. Yeah. I mean, there's certain things you have to do. The Millennium Falcon, there's certain things like that that have to be in there, and certain components that you expect to see. But I think if the backdrop of the things you expect to see is something that you have to discover yourself, I think people will learn to appreciate it a lot more.
All right. Well,
So
I, for one, if I was around August 31st or August whatever, I would wait in those 12-hour lines. I would be that dork.
yeah,
I mean, I would be the one trying to get. We've got a friend of the show that listens to us, Ryan Grover, who is actually going to be at Disneyland
yeah,
on opening day, and people were calling him crazy. But I'm jealous of him.
yeah.
I mean, he's going to get to hear speeches. He's going to get to hear Bob Iger welcoming you to Disneyland. He's going to get you. He's probably going to hear George Lucas.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's going to be there.
Yeah. It's a once in a lifetime thing. And that's the thing about the Disneyland one, especially, is that that's the first one. There'll never be another first opening of Galaxy's Edge ever again. Not that the Disney World won't be as special. It just won't be the first. Somebody had to be first, you know? And
so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Without giving away where you work or anything, I'm going to say this. You work near Galaxy.
Well, you already did, yeah. I work backstage at Hollywood Studios. I do.
You work backstage at Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Disney does a Star Wars race every year, which you and I have both run. Next year, in 2020, Star Wars Land will be open. How are they going to figure out a way to let you run through Star Wars Land? I don't see any way.
Well, God, what race was it? I want to say it was the old Wine and Dine course when it was at night. You actually ran backstage right past our parking garage and everything.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember where you came on stage. You actually ran the road around backstage, and you actually ran behind Lights Motors Action. You came on stage at studios somewhere in that area. That's kind of where Star Wars Land is.
Right.
That's where
okay.
the whole thing's being put. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that could be it. And the funny thing about it is, it's weird when you think about it. We ran the Princess Half Marathon, and everybody's having their emotional moment going through the castle.
Oh, I'd have that one in Star Wars Land.
If they can find a way to route that race through Star Wars Land, people are going to be having that emotional moment with the Falcon in the background. It's going to be so funny to see the different reactions between one with the castle and one at the Falcon. It's going to be awesome.
I'll have that emotional moment at both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said very publicly, I will never run the half marathon, the Walt Disney World half, or the Princess again, because I hate that course.
Yeah.
But I will run the Star Wars to get that emotional moment again.
Yeah.
So, and then the last thing we're going to have to talk about with Star Wars, and I just hit my mic. Sorry for that sound.
Everybody's awake now.
Yeah, everybody's awake. Just today, Disney has announced 3 new Star Wars films and 4 Avatar sequels. But we're going to have to wait a little bit of time before we get Avatar 2. Avatar 2 has been pushed back from December of 2020 to now December of 2021.
Yes. Which it had
Avatar,
to be.
Right. Avatar 3 will be December of 2023. Avatar 4 will be 2025. So what I don't get is when we got this trailer for Rise of the Skywalkers, we were told that they were going to stop making Star Wars movies for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that lasted all of a week.
Well, but I think at the same time, they know what story they've got in their hands. And if it's compelling, I mean, they may not want to wait. I think the fact that it's a completely different trilogy, it's got that going for it. But it's also 3 years away. And I think that what they were saying when they said that was we had Solo, Rogue One, all the ones we're making in the saga. You know, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I think the method they're taking is instead of one every year, now it needs to be more spread out.
Right.
So
in December of 2020, I can't see what it is. There it goes. It went away. Cruella de Vil. We're going to get a live action Cruella de Vil, which I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
We're also going to get Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, which if anyone knows me and you know I'm a Broadway theater geek, I will be first in line for that one. 2020 is going to be awesome for Disney. We're getting a live action Mulan. We're getting the X-Men, the New Mutants. We're getting. Are they really making a Bob's Burgers movie?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
We are. We're getting an untitled Disney animation movie. Is this the new Pixar movie we've been hearing so much about? Probably.
Yeah.
We're getting West Side Story and Cruella, which I've heard rumors that Stone. What's Emily Stone? Emma Stone will be playing Cruella de Vil.
Emma Watson would be horrible as Cruella.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Emma Stone, though, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So in 2021, we'll be getting Avatar 2. In 2022, we'll be getting Star Wars. 2023, Avatar 3. 2024, Star Wars. So every other year.
Yeah.
This Star Wars trilogy, is this the Rian Johnson trilogy we've been hearing about?
I think there's a few people that have been working on different ones, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Johnson has been told that this is going to be your new trilogy. You get to make a new trilogy. Which
what was the other movie that he did? Which other Star Wars movie did he do?
The Last Jedi.
Oh, that's right. So evidently they liked it.
Yeah, well, I didn't. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, right.
So what do you? I agree. I'm happy that we're getting more Star Wars. I'm almost a little happy we're getting away from the characters we know, because we've kind of ran this one dry. That well, we've gone to that well a little bit too much, and I think it's time to go to a new well.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to know whose Rey's parents are, and she's got to be a Skywalker, and they've got to be a this, and they've got to be a that.
Find that out in this movie.
Let's get something fresh. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I want it in a whole new galaxy.
Maybe it could be at a I don't know, some kind of outpost on a remote planet. Maybe it could be somewhere. Maybe
and Batu. I have a feeling that we're going to see that there will be a tie-in somewhere. In fact, there might be a tie-in in The Last Skywalker.
Maybe
The Rise of the Skywalker. Why do I want to call it The Last Skywalker?
Because you really like The Last Jedi. You just don't want to say it publicly.
No, I will never say that. Anyway, then let's go ahead and
moving on.
Yeah, let's tick off all the other people that say that The Phantom Menace wasn't a bad movie.
You're going to be in so much trouble with a certain group of people.
Oh, hey, we're going. eventually we'll have the leader of that certain group of people on the show.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we'll say Logan wanted to come on this show. He had he had to put his kids to bed tonight. We have to get him on in a certain, he's got a certain time frame he can do. I said, Logan, we're talking wrestling and Star Wars. This is right up your alley, man.
If not now, when?
Yeah, if not now, when? Right, exactly. But anyway, that's our Star Wars talk. I mean, we could go on for hours talking about Star Wars. I think you and I have had spent many an hour talking about Star Wars.
Yep.
Guys, we want to hear from you about our new, I don't want to call this a new format because we're not always going to do this. The summer is a downtime for sports. We're going to cover sports. We're sports guys. When media days happens in July, we'll be all over that. When there's big baseball stuff, when Craig Kimbrell signs with the Braves, we'll be all over that. By the way, the Braves are down 4-0 to the Dodgers.
Yay.
Yeah. I know. And then, anyway, so if you like, go ahead. What?
I was just going to say, you talked about it at the beginning of the show, how we like stuff outside of sports. And this podcast is a reflection of a few different facets of who we are. Everybody else is like that too.
Right.
I mean, we all want to talk about sports. How many of us were talking Kentucky Derby at work around the water cooler, and how many of us are talking XFL with folks we know, and you talk wrestling with people, and we all like Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot of that. And just like the AAF, the XFL aren't trying to compete with the NFL. I don't think in any of the geek circles that we run in that we're trying to compete with anybody. This is just a representation of you and me.
Yeah. So what?
Enough people who feel the same way that it's like, why not every now and then delve into this stuff? So yeah, right. I agree. I would like to hear. I think it's good to hear back on what folks think about it, because it doesn't necessarily have to be one thing all the time, either way.
Right. Well, what I like, and I've always laughed because everyone says, "Oh, you played baseball, you sang in the choir, you played in the band, you're a comic book geek. What are you?" And I said, "Well, a hodgepodge."
You're a well-rounded individual, David.
Right, exactly. I fit in with the geeks. I fit in with the jocks. I fit in with the music nerds. So, sorry, I don't have just a box you can put me in.
Yep.
And you're about the same way, except you're not as musical as I am. But you play a mean guitar. I'll give you that.
You're the Walt Disney World of music, and I'm just a Six Flags Over Georgia. Is that what you're trying to say?
Dear Lord, let it die.
That's the last time I'll bring it up this show.
This show, right?
Exactly.
Okay. How long did you go without talking to me?
Wow. I don't know. I'm going to set a new record. How about that?
I know, right? Anyway, so if you want to get a hold of the show and tell us what you think about our new format, Adam, give them the number.
Yeah, I remember it this time. 931-44-BLITZ. I drew a blank last week, right? 931-44-BLITZ. Tell you what, guys, let's open it up. Sports, Kentucky Derby, rants, questions, anything. What are your thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker trailer? What are your thoughts on Galaxy's Edge? What are your thoughts on anything that we've talked about, anything you want to talk about? We're exploring doing new stuff on the show, so let's explore opening the line up to other stuff. The Blitz line can be anything you guys want it to be, anything you want to ask about, share. We'll play it on the show. We do every time we get a voicemail. And so whatever topic you want to bring up, let's go. Let's do this thing.
Except soccer.
I'll even talk soccer. If our audience wants it, I will talk it, Dave.
Soccer's for third world countries that can't afford pads and commie countries.
Wow.
Yep. There's my thoughts.
There's our soccer for the month, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. If you want to get a hold of us on Twitter, get a hold of the show at SW The Show. I am at DAdams419. He is at RunTideRun. We're also all on Instagram. I think we're all using those same names.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah. So also get a hold of – go ahead. What? Makes it easier? Yep. Get a hold of us on Facebook, Sideline Warning, Facebook fan group. We're facebook.com/SW The Show. You got to do the little karate chop.
/
Guys, I haven't said this enough, too. Get on iTunes, get on Google, get on however you listen to the show, and give us a 5-star rating if you don't mind. We haven't gotten enough of those, and we haven't gotten enough comments on our outposts of shows. Yeah. I don't know. What do you call iPod or podcast? Whatever.
No idea what you're trying to say. I want to help you so bad. but I can't.
What do you Apple Podcasts app?
The podcast.
Okay, the podcast app, and then Google Play. Anyway.
Yeah. Or hey, we're on. What else are we on? Spotify.
Spotify.
Aren't we?
iHeart.
Yeah.
Yep.
However you want to listen, guys. We're there.
We're on. I mean, you can call us up, and we'll kind of talk you through the show personally.
Sure. If you want to listen to us on each of the platforms, that'd fine.
Be great. that would be great.
On each.
Why not? Why not? Exactly. We're on YouTube. You can listen to the show through a video.
Maybe we'll have a video one day, and then you can listen to it and watch it separately.
We got to figure out how to record.
Experience.
We got to figure out how to record because those of you.
Somebody knows 931-44 Blitz. Tell us how to do video. I mean, that's what it's there for. It's your way to yell at us and to share helpful information.
Those of you who have recorded with us, you know that the video is almost better than the audio because we're making fun of each other through the video.
It's true.
Guys, we say it every week, and we do mean it. We do love you guys. We love the interaction that we get with you guys because it makes it fun for us to do it. I mean, Adam and I talk all the time, but the recordings that we do here, we do it for you guys because we enjoy the interaction that we get with y'all. But like I said, we do say this every week, but we mean it. We do love you guys. We'll see y'all next week. Roll Tide, chop on, and go Disney. I don't know. How do we bring that in?
May the force be with you.
When you wish upon a star. We'll see y'all next week.